Welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast where resilience is not just a concept, but a lived experience. I'm your host, Thomas Scaria, a resilience coach, an ultramarathoner, and a relentless believer in the human spirit's ability to rise. This podcast is a companion to my book, Resilience Plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset. Today, we continue in our conversation with Joshua Berglan, who we heard what he had gone through. And as I talk in my introductory phrase, an unfiltered dive into the stories of who have faced life's hardest battles and emerged stronger. So, what we had heard in the last episode was the grit and the determination to come out from where he was to where he is now. So currently, Joshua is on a path of being an legacy architect. It's an omni-media producer. He's an omni-media producer. As a legacy architect, Joshua provides strategic framework to build, manage, and amplify his clients or the tribe. But before we can go into those particular things, let's listen to Joshua, what inspired him to be the legacy architect. Joshua, welcome back to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast.
Thank you for having me back. I really do appreciate it. It seems like there's a theme with me. It takes 2 episodes to fit my message in, but I'm grateful that you've had me here, sir. Thank you.
As I would say, is that you don't get a chicken for the price of an egg. So whatever it is, it takes time, and what you have got is quite so powerful. Because when people say that I have grown, but from what have you grown? From what have you reached to where you are? And more than that is that why you believe what you're doing will be a game changer for many.
Okay. So ask me the question again. Because I heard the last.
So the question is that what inspired you to be the legacy architect? Because legacy architect is not just about the media. It's about a lot. And as we had spoken in the last episode, is that there has been profound changes that you have worked towards and to become the person you are.
Yes.
Yes, you got the struggles with the tremors and the other challenges, which has still been a part of you, but you're evolving, you're growing.
Yeah, okay. So how this all happened, give you the quickest version possible. For 10 years, I've been serving and serving and serving and giving everything that I've created away. Even though the system I teach is to not do that, I've been doing that because my goal was to serve and help underserved communities, because when I surrendered my life, that's what God put on my heart to do. And so I did it faithfully. And let me tell you, that what has not been easy to give everything away for 10 years and not charge people for the work I did. It's been tough. I also got to see a lot of miracles and blessings take place in my life. That said, when I started to shift away from that, not away from it, but when I started to add some of my own services in, on top of the mentoring and the serving I was doing, right around that time of starting to get some momentum, the way I was going about things was, basically slammed shut when the tremors started in January of 24. So while I'd spent all that time rehabilitating my life from addiction, I turned my life around. Everything starts to get on the upward track, going well, and then I get hit with tremors. And then I can't talk. Like my ability to speak normally went away. I couldn't act anymore, couldn't use my voice, couldn't broadcast. A lot of the ways that I earned revenue went away. And I was very depressed by that. And I was like, what am I going to do now, God? I've served you faithfully. I've done all these things. And now it's all taken away. Like, what has been going on? What kind of sick joke is this? And then as soon as I started complaining, I got hit across the face to go, don't you know every form of media? Isn't that what you learned? Didn't you learn how to use every form of media, hence omni-media producing? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So then I wrote 9 books because I couldn't talk. So I wrote 9 books and we did that. But the other issue was, because of my situation, I couldn't do my normal activities. The way I used to know how to earn money went away. And, book sales are tough. I mean, if you're not pimping yourself out every day, you're not going to sell books unless if you have a huge advertising budget. It's tough. It's tough for independent authors to sell books. It just is, because if you don't pay for play, the publishers aren't going to show your book to anybody. So I said, screw you guys. I'm going to start self-publishing on my own platform. And then that worked out better. But what I'm getting at is this. I was lost. And here it is. I have these big dreams and these big goals, and I want to help all these people, but I'm limited because there's after I talk to you today, I'm done talking for the day because I'm going to tremor like crazy from doing this. I can't help it.
Thank you.
But so now what that means is there's no meetings for me today. So how in the world am I going to get out of disability? Because I am disabled. So how am I going to break out of that? And so I started working with a coach, and this coach advised me to take a month off. And I'm like, what? But I knew she was right. She said, you've got this, it's like your nose is to the ground and you're grinding and you're helping anyone that comes your way. You're giving your energy to anyone and everyone, and you have nothing for yourself. And now all of a sudden you're no longer doing what you love. You're serving people that don't either appreciate it, don't take it seriously, or the fact is it's so taxing on your body, there's nothing left of you to go do the things that earn you money. And she was right. I didn't know what to do. How can I work around my disability, still tap into what God created me to do? Because that's my message to everyone, is to tap into your God-given gifts and talents and your intellectual property and stories for unlimited revenue streams. Well, I already told my story, and now I can't talk to promote it, and I don't want to just keep writing. What do? How can I offer the most value by tapping into my gifting? How can I do what I love to do and work around this disability? It took a month. Actually, it took about 3 days. Or no, hold on. Within 2 days, I was going to go one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third day, I changed it. And I was like, no, I've got something better. And this is what the legacy architect part. She goes, now wait another month. I was like, oh. So my month started over. But then in the month, Thomas, clarity, more clarity. And even before I had announced anything, changed my website or did a thing, I had artists from all over the world reaching out to me, asking for help. And then started with people on TV shows. I haven't even formally announced really what I'm doing, haven't really promoted it. I made a couple videos, but they were just like generic. Talk about signs from the universe. Talk about God going, here's your confirmation, you're doing the right thing. That's what happened. I hadn't even announced it. I had companies reaching out, nonprofits reaching out, independent artists, people with TV shows on networks. It's been the coolest thing ever. And here's what's so beautiful about it. I get to coach. I get to manage talent. I get to be a consultant and increase people's revenue streams. And believe me, I wrote the book on it. I know how to create endless revenue streams with what what someone has already. I know how to do it. But if someone like yourself, who's already so well established, there's so much to do. I'm very passionate about working with the people that are starting out, like from the beginning. That process takes a little bit longer. So I have this nice mix of new artists that are ready to have their voices heard, but also some established creatives and artists and talent to work with too. And it's the greatest joy of my life, Thomas, because helping people see just how awesome they are and to see these beautiful gifts that they've been blessed with. Everyone has, okay, I've interviewed 700 people and I've mentored hundreds more. And over the last 10 years, and every single person I've talked to, no matter where they're from, I don't care if they're in a shadow prison, they have these amazing gifts, and all of them have talent. Now, most of the talent I see is untapped. They haven't even tapped into it at all. So I love getting, like, those are who I'm really get excited about working with, giving a voice to the voiceless. Like, that's what really gets me. But at the same time, I want to eliminate this whole starving artist theory, because creatives are the creatives are the most beautiful expression of what God created us to be, I think. Because when we're tapping into our creative gifts and our imagination, I don't believe that we can be closer to God. Like, you talk about collaborating, that's it. The creative process with God is amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, there are three questions which comes up. The first question is that, again, for the people who have not heard the previous, the initial episodes. And guys, I will be putting out Joshua's web links, etc., in the comments below over here. Do have a look. It's transformative. So the first question which comes up is that you had a, a rough life, but then those 20 years, you felt that that was your life. But there would have been a pivot, which now when you talk about God, the spiritual guidance, whatever, however we different people put it in different ways.
Yeah.
What was the turning point that you felt this has to stop? This is not the life that I want. Because when you're in that 20 years of euphoric type of living, where it is all so fuzzy and you still feel a different type of a bliss, but suddenly a different light comes up and you say, what am I doing?
Okay. So in my book, The Devil Inside Me, the last chapter, Death, that's the first version, but it's happened again in a different way. I think we have multiple awakenings. Unlearning is an awakening. Now, surrendering my life was supernatural experience, but I've had other moments. For me, one of the biggest ones, and I talked about this in the first part, was that, you know, being an evangelist, I got to see and learn things that a lot of people in the church don't. And you know, when I'm a journalist at heart, so I start asking questions, and I know how to connect dots, and I know how to do real research. And I'm not talking about, you know, conspiracy style research, like real research. I know how to do it. I've done it my whole life. It taps into my gifting. Like, God will show me something and go look there. And I'm like, never seen that direction before, but okay, I'm going to go over there. And then I see what I see. It's how I've been able to do everything I've done, is just following that from God. But when I started asking questions and I was told to stay in my lane, that started a process that really bothered me. You know, getting in religious competition with people that share my beliefs wasn't a lot of fun. And also, you know, having to argue over interpretations, and like, that was like coming out of the best awakening I had was the understanding that I, with my personal relationship with God, the creator, know what's best for me more than the opinions of other people and their interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
I say that, why that was so powerful for me. In other words, I'll listen to your opinion. I'll listen to what you have to say, but I make my own decisions. And I also know, because of my relationship with God, if the decision I make is not the right decision, then I'm going to be corrected. I'm going to be course corrected. And if I ignore that, then I'm going to get a like, and then if I ignore that,
sorry for due apologies. Which comes in? Was there a light which came up? Was there suddenly something that just snapped within? Or because, again, as I mentioned in my previous one, our deepest of purpose comes from the deepest of our pains or deepest of hurts.
yeah,
When we open up, suddenly we make such a a change. It's like that rubber band. When we once it is pulled out of its elasticity, you know it cannot go back to its original shape. So for you to be transformed in such a huge way, there has to be. So usually people think, oh, I'm waiting for the light to come in. And again, the question we'll go into is that what about people who are agnostic, people who are atheist in their own beliefs, who don't believe in a creator, who do not believe in God or a supernatural power? They just believe in the humanness. So how do you reply to them about how, of course, in the previous episode, we talked about the truth, but what would you tell them? It's not an advice, but what is your suggestions on those particular things? So what happened that changed Joshua? Sorry, it was a long question.
Well, I mean, I've already told the death story. So I'm talking about leaving religion. That was a very awakening thing for me. And the reason why is because the questioning that I was asking and not getting answered and being told to stay in my lane, or like, oh, you need to read your Bible more. But I'm like, yeah, but that's how I got the questions. Like, in other words, the Garden of Eden is in the brain. Like, I'm reading the Bible and that's the download I get. So I go talk about it. Like, and all of a sudden I started to recognize the metaphysical aspects of the Bible. And as somebody that was battling mental illness, that is not necessarily a straight male, you know, I had lots of questions about myself, and I had a lot of self-hating and a lot of and here it is that I'm listening to all of these other things outside of me about what's right and wrong for me. And then at the same time, when I try to deny who I am, how miserable I am, just to fit into these religious circles, that disruption, that judgment, the not ever having the right interpretation of what it was, and having some people agree, some people not, like, it became more schizophrenic and bipolar and disassociative than I already was. So there was no peace in that. So stepping away from that, and again, because my questions weren't being answered, and I also recognized this, part of my awakening was this understanding, because when I had to step away and be isolated and get away from all the different voices, and I could only hear myself, what I really started to realize, I don't care what I call the voice inside of me, whether it's God, universe, spirit, my intuition, I don't know. To the atheist out there, who the hell talks to you inside your head? Like, where do your downloads come from? Where do your gifts come from? I don't know what to tell you. If you don't believe something created you, I don't know how to have a conversation with you. Did you just come from dust? I don't know. Like, you have a spirit inside of you. Do you notice when people die, you can still connect to those spirits? I mean, like, there's something out there. There's something different. Like, I don't have all the answers. That's part of the truth. That's part of what I'm trying to tell you. The unlearning and the understanding that I don't know all the answers. But I do have these life experiences to say that if I'm living a certain way and it's not in line with who I am, the universe, God, the wind, I don't know, what is that that aligns everything mathematically perfect, where there's synergies and there's alignment? Like, who created that system? I didn't. So I only know that there's some crazy supernatural power out there that gives me life, that gives me purpose, that helps me get out of bed every morning to pursue my dreams. Someone gives me vision. Someone gives me downloads. I'm not schizophrenic, even though I was diagnosed that in college. I'm not. Like, I don't have all the answers. I just know what's true for me. And this is my whole point about the storytelling. Because you have a different story. And you may call the creator of all something different, but it doesn't mean that your voice should be muzzled because you don't align with the political party in charge or the religious party in charge. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. So I know it's minor compared to overcoming, chemsex addiction and abuse and narcissism and multiple personality disorder, which is known as DID. Like, overcoming all of that was hell, sure. But you know what? When you walk away from believing everything that you've been told in your entire life, and because you realize that it's bullshit, or it's not the actual truth or the factual truth or the absolute truth, when you realize that, you have no choice but to start unlearning. And you know what? That is freeing, because now all of a sudden, I don't really care what my opinion about certain things are. Like, I only care about what I know. Like, and even if I believe something is true, I'm sure as heck not going to go shove it down someone's face unless I can document it with source material to prove it's true. That in itself has been more enlightening and freeing and game-changing and life-changing and spirit-changing than anything else, because now I can love fully. I can see God in you. I can see God in the trees. I can see God in the animals. I can see God in the grass and the grasshoppers. I don't even kill spiders anymore because I see God in spiders. And I also believe that if we treat each other as if God, our creator, resides within, we can change the world that way too.
Fantastic. Again, wow, when we have this conversation, we don't realize how soon the time passes. Over here, I just want to ask you about a little more, currently the passionate project that you're on about the legacy architect.
Mm.
So what's the framework that you have been working on that creates a platform, a different edge for the people who connect with you as a captain of being the legacy architect?
So I have the system that I created with Media Company in a Box. So that system, when it was created, was customized to each person's individual gifts, talents, and intellectual property. So it's already customized. So it's you that brings the system alive. The system works for anybody, whether you have money or not. But it's you, the storyteller, not me. It worked for me as the storyteller for myself, but for other people that use it, they're the magic in it because it's their story, not mine. I just have the system, but the system is customized, and it's not like it's not in a box. Even though it says Media Company in a Box, it's not in a box. It's the exact opposite. So here's the thing, though. We were sharing this before. Like, for me, like, trying to operate as this I love working behind the scenes as much as I do in front of camera, but they're two different styles of work. And trying to do both at the same time is really, really tough. I would rather pour into other people than promote myself. And so the thing that I learned from all of the mentees that I have around the world and all of the lectures that I've done, what I teach is overwhelming. And like, trying to fit it into an hour or 2 hours, or even fit it into a 400-page book is exhausting for people, because it's forcing them to disrupt everything that they've ever been taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I got tired of beating my head, Thomas, trying to get people to read like all those pages and study and take the test because it was overwhelming. So part of what I decided when I was getting right and getting clear, how can I make this gift that God blessed me with work for people in a way that doesn't overwhelm them? Because when I talk to people and even explain what I did, it overwhelmed them. So now no one really has to learn anything. And part of what this I have programs for corporations and nonprofits, but then also I have programs for groups and independent artists, independent creatives. And by the way, we're all creatives, whether you're in Hollywood or not. We're all creatives now, especially if you run a business. We have to be. And so my expertise is I understand how to maximize the revenue stream potential and maximize the revenue streams that are in place. So it's best that I just go, instead of making this talent learn all that when that's not their skill set, I just pour into them like a modern day talent manager, a modern day consultant, a modern day life coach and producer, all in one. And that's why. So this allows me to work around my health. This also allows me to step away from the computer. It allows me to work in the community, hands-on. It allows me to be in service. It allows me to not have to price everybody out. Yes, I have hefty prices for corporations because I know my value and I've got the credentials to back it up. But at the same time, my heart is for the underserved. So I have programs for them too. And this way I can work with everyone, preserve my health, remain in integrity, and do what I love to do. And I believe when you have all of that aligned, that's when all your dreams come true.
So, guys, over here, what Joshua is saying, and when you go into the website, you will get a better glimpse about the person that he is. So, yes, he has worked around with UN. He has worked with the underprivileged kids in Africa and the world over. So, it is not just in this podcast he's talking about it, but he has put those words into action. He has created a world wherein humanity strives to be better, works to be better. And as he mentioned, it's all about the truth. Of course, truth can be said in a different way. What could be true for me could be something
Right.
false for you. It's your perception, but something that you believe deeply within
Mhm.
that allows you to grow, that allows you to be more freer. That's the truth. And Joshua, again, just be mindful. Is there something at the end that you would just, as a parting thought or a parting statement that you would like to tell the audience who have been kind enough to listen until here?
Yeah, I would like to challenge everyone to quit sharing opinions on social media, but provide value. Share a story, share something you've learned. Instead of focusing on your opinions on what you think is happening in the world, and I said that specifically, it's what you think is happening in the world because you've gotten it from a media device and you're not the source of the information. So let's celebrate sharing information from source. That's you. Share your story, share something of value, share something funny, share a personal experience. But let's change the news feeds from opinions to stories and watch the ripple effect.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, guys, in these last two episodes, we have just seen what Joshua is all about. And as I mentioned before, is that he believes that when we empower others to rise, we all ascend. So, again, if you're a leader, if you're a creator, if you believe that you need help to get into the next level and you're ready to build your legacy, he invites you to connect. I'll be putting out the links over here in the comments below. Go ahead, be bold, connect with Joshua. Joshua, again, thank you for your space and time.
You.
It was a beautiful journey. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.